Hello, welcome to episode 4 of Independent Learning. Fucking a month, 4 weeks. They said we couldn't do it. They didn't believe. The haters didn't believe that a white boy could make a podcast about pirates and the Rhodesian Bush War, but here we are. They said it was impossible, but we proved them wrong against all odds. We're here. Um, yeah, I, I'm just fucking glad I made it this far. Getting the dedication. I'm still in the every episode I'm making is ass phase. I mean, because they are, but you gotta try. Um, the only thing I have to talk about that happened this week to me is that I meant to buy super glue yesterday and I didn't. And for some reason that pissed me off so fucking much, dude. Me and my sister drove 45 minutes to the nearest like big town that has like a Walmart and shit. And the only thing I had on my shopping list was super glue. It wasn't even a shopping list. It was just in my head. I didn't buy super glue. I completely forgot. I bought a bunch of other shit. I bought tin foil. I bought a bunch of food, but I didn't buy super glue. And for some reason that pissed me off. I mean, more than anything ever has. I was so mad for no reason. For literally, I didn't need it. I don't need it. But I was fucking pissed that I didn't get that super glue. That's the most boring thing you can fucking talk about, but I'm not deleting it, dude. We don't edit episodes around here. I'm just fucking raw like that. Raw, unedited, recorded on a broken headset. That's the type of shit you sign up for when you listen to this. If when you listen to this. I know who's listening to this. They knew what they signed up for, so um yeah. I got horrible sleep last night. I feel like I got shot in the head. It's that type of sleep where it's not even grogginess anymore. You just don't feel awake. And I don't know why I've been getting sleep like this. Maybe it's from the documentaries I've been watching about like cannibal warlords and stuff. Maybe all those, maybe seeing that person get executed by Belgian mercenaries kind of fucked me up. Didn't let me get the best sleep. Who knows? But um, fuck that. Every week we're talking about fucked up shit, or I am. We, but the whole point of this week was to be lighthearted. So I tried to talk about the Super League thing, but instead I ended up on that. But whatever. Um, this whole topic is pretty fun though. This one was actually really fun to research. I'm glad I did this. Um, this one is going to be about the golden age of piracy. So let's just get into it. So it lasted from the 1650s to the 1730s, mostly happened in the North Atlantic, which is basically like, where like Africa kind of like comes out in like a half circle almost. At the bottom of that, that's pretty much like the North Atlantic. So like the Caribbean, parts of like Brazil and like Venezuela and Colombia. So that's kind of the North Atlantic. It's broken down into three periods, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Narrow trade routes it allowed for it to happen, so the pirates knew where the people were going to be. Holy shit! I don't know if you guys heard that crazy stomach growl, but I ate nothing but candy and buffalo wings yesterday. But yeah, narrow trade routes allowed for piracy to like explode in this time. Money made through stealing, unlike modern piracy, which is based around ransoms. There is one ransom that we're going to talk about, but it's not really like saving or fuck Captain Phillips. I almost said Saving Private Ryan. Both Tom Hanks, pedophile Tom Hanks, but uh, maybe I'll do an episode about that. But yeah, it was based around like stealing valuable things from like ships. Obviously, but and Madagascar was like very much like a place that pirates like set up base and stuff. And if you've ever played Uncharted 4, you know what I'm talking about. And we'll get, I love Uncharted 4, but we'll get into the Uncharted 4 type shit. Uh, I think that's the pirate round. Um, but either way, we'll talk a little bit about some Uncharted 4. Oh, and some Pirates of the Caribbean. All right. So the first period is called the Buccaneering period from 1650 to 1680. So the end of the wars of religion marked the beginning of the golden age of piracy, and these wars were caused by the Protestant Reformation. So it was Catholics versus Protestants. Uh, so that's been going on for like 500 years. But this was the beginning of the golden age of piracy because European countries were able to start investing more money into their new world colonies, like in the Caribbean and stuff, and also in like Africa and the East Indies. But this is this is we're going to talk a lot about the Caribbean, so that's important. So basically, they were spending all this money on war, and the war ended, and so now they just had money to spend in other places. So French buccaneers lived on the Isle of Tortuga. What? Fucking Pirates of the Caribbean type shit. If you guys can hear my stomach, it's fighting for its life. But this is just off the northern coast of Haiti. So it's kind of like yeah, it's just a small island off the northern coast of Haiti. And somehow they were driven there. Someone drove these guys off the island to get them there. But they were motivated to become pirates because the Spanish tried to wipe out the buccaneers and the pigs they hunted. Buccaneers were these French pig hunters, and uh, the name comes from that. So Buccaneers, you might think it like comes from bacon or something, just from the way the name sounds. It comes from like the way they dried the meat and like preserved it and barbecued it. So yeah, Buccaneer. That's named after just fucking French dudes that hunted pigs. Um, and I don't know why Spain was trying to fuck these dudes up, but that was a big swing and a miss by them, as we'll come to find out. In 1655, the English captured Jamaica from Spain and began giving the French buccaneers letters of marque to plunder Spanish vessels. So this is if you've heard the word privateer maybe from like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but or whatever else. All knowledge I have is through video games and fucking movies and shit. So if you've heard that, that's what privateering is. It's basically like an ocean mercenary um, that are just like hired by governments to rob ships and stuff to weaken their enemy. And at this time, England and Spain were beefing. So French buccaneers and English cutthroats, I guess that's just what they called English privateers, began teaming up in the 1660s in the city of Port Royal, Jamaica, because it was the best place to sell stolen goods. So French dudes and like some English dudes were robbing Spanish ships and selling the stuff in Port Royal, Jamaica, because that was ran by the English, and the English were like, "Fuck the Spanish, give us all their stolen." They were like, "You stole this shit? No, you didn't. Even if you did, who cares? Sell it to us." So Port Royal was like a big pirate place up until we'll get to that, but um, after the War of Spanish Succession is what marked the end of Jamaica as like a pirate port. Um, in 1670, the English and French pirates teamed up and began attacking Spanish-controlled Panama and sacked Panama City in 1671. We'll get to that later, but this was after like a peace agreement was made that they sacked the city, but the invasion began before the peace treaty. But yeah, they sacked Panama City, fucked it up. They were fucking a lot with Panama, I guess because it's Spanish and they could fuck with it, but yeah. Um, and it ended due to England and France beefing and Spain becoming better at anti-piracy. So this period in time, from what I could tell, from what I read, which was like a Wikipedia page, it was like one of the only periods where France and England weren't at like total war, and so they went back to war over fucking God knows what. We'll get to these dumbass wars later, but yeah, France and England went back to war with each other, and Spain just became better at protecting from pirates. Um, so that ended that period, and the next period is called the Pirate Round, and that lasted from 1693 to 1700. Used mostly from 1693 to 1700, and briefly in the 1720s. Um, and the 1720s was the end of the golden age. So you can probably tell that they were like going back to old shit that they knew worked really well. And this did work really well for pirates because Madagascar was important and it was part of this round. Um, I have a little map of the pirate round, which was they just called the route that the pirates took and also a lot of merchant ships took, but it basically goes from the tip of South Africa. They stop off in Madagascar and then it goes up to like India, Yemen, Africa, like that little area, like the Persian Gulf and India. Uh, and then it goes back down around Madagascar and back to the tip of South Africa. And it's not really round. It's like, I don't know. What is it shaped like? I guess it's kind of shaped like a fish, but they called it the round. I guess because it was a round trip, maybe. Who fucking knows? But um, the route was also used by the British East India Company and some other nations. I think France specifically, because they had control of Madagascar, but Britain had control of South Africa and India, which are like the two main stopping points for the pirates. So they were getting robbed a shit ton on here. Um, and the when you hear like the British East India Company or like last episode when I talked about the British South Africa Company, those are kind of like just extensions of the government that are like people can invest in that are given control over certain industries. So they're what's called like joint stock public or like govern I don't fucking know government companies, but basically they were used to like so that the government didn't have to go into debt to do these things. So anyway, pirates as a whole began using this route due to Spanish ships being depleted. So they literally like robbed them dry. And the Spanish probably also got smarter about maybe distributed their goods across more ships to make it not worth it for the pirates. But either way, the pirates stopped fucking with the Spanish ships. Um, and that's why they started using the round. But and England neglected many of their New World colonies, causing them to become pirates. English colonial governors defended piracy and privateering. So yeah, it 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 was caused by something specific. I'm gonna look it up real quick. It was caused by like some specific act that um, the British put on their colonies. Um, but and it basically like forced a lot of people to yeah. It was caused by the Navigation Acts, which I don't know. I guess it probably just imposed trade or not trade taxes on like trades from the New World to the Old World or something. So basically, these dudes were poor as shit, and they were like, "Fuck it, we got nothing else to do. Let's rob the people who kind of like caused us to become poor. That was maybe their mindset. I don't know. It doesn't say outright. Or maybe they were just poor and they were like doing what they had to do. But the Indian Ocean had really good loot for pirates. They, like I said, I feel like I woke up this morning and got shot by a shotgun right in the head. So my talking, it's already not good. It's gonna be even worse. Um, my talk, I'm bad at talking to begin with. I'm really bad at talking on a podcast, and I'm even worse talking on a podcast when I'm tired. So, and this episode was gonna be ass anyway, but just an explanation as to why this is even more ass. But yeah, so if you ever, most people listening to this probably know about like the Silk Road and all that stuff. Um, or like if you know about the Hope Diamonds from India. So India had like silk, um, diamonds, spices, all super valuable stuff, ivory, and it also probably had a lot of stuff from the surrounding area like China and Indochina and stuff like that. So that's why the pirates started targeting this route. Um, so they attacked both local and colonial ships. So any everyone was a fucking target, but um, yeah, Henry Avery, Thomas Tew, Robert Califord, and William Kidd, and that's debated because they didn't know if he was a pirate or not. But I don't fucking know. If we know his name, maybe you know. But people back then were pretty fucking stupid. Like you could just like change your name and move a town over, as we'll fucking find out with one of these guys. But um, yeah. But anyway, that was fucking crazy to me because I was like, yo, Uncharted 4. I, I thought those were all like made up. Uncharted 4 is the only one I've ever played, but I'm maybe they all have like some basis in reality. I didn't know that, but yeah, that was pretty fucking sick when I found that out. Um, that these these guys were real. Um, and I didn't write down all the names obviously, but like those were like some of the most notorious pirates of this. Henry Avery being the most notorious, but that guy was like he might be the goat pirate. I don't know. Maybe he was just like the Wilt Chamberlain of pirates, and he played in an era where everyone else sucked. But it seems like he was probably the best pirate, as we'll get to later. And so that's kind of the end of that. So yeah, that's the end of that. I didn't write down why it ended. It just kind of seemed like it fizzled out, to be honest. So that brings us to our third and final period of the golden age of piracy. And don't worry, I know you guys are like fucking tripping out right now. You're like, this episode's gonna be too short. I know you want to hear my fucking sweet, sultry, my Barry White sounding voice longer, but um, we'll talk about some specific pirates and also some another interesting thing I learned when I was doing this. But so post Spanish succession period. Um, this was 1715 to 1726. Europe fought to determine the rightful ruler of Spain. There was the pro-Habsburgs versus the pro-Bourbon factions. And dude, when I was learning about this, I was like, I was so grateful that I was born in America in the modern time. Because people talk about like, oh, we have to vote for who's going to give Israel more money. We have to vote between these two retards. Dude, imagine you're an English peasant fighting a German peasant in France to decide who the king of fucking Spain's gonna be. That's 1,000 times worse than having to watch two retards debate on TV. These two guys, by the way, Habsburg and Bourbon, literal retards. They were inbred to shit. So I don't know. And all that I don't want to get too fucking conspiracy theory on you guys, but all that shit's fake anyway. Don't tell anyone I told you. But yeah, not the wars, but the Trump versus Kamala dude. War mode. listen to War Mode. But yeah. So I'm just thankful I was born now, so I didn't have to fucking fight over the King of Spain. But I guess it was pretty important. Not really. It really wasn't fucking important. England was gonna steamroll everyone anyway. So, but sailors and privateers who fought in the war became either merchants or pirates, and they tended to choose piracy. Um, we'll kind of talk about that later, why they chose that. But yeah, that's what they chose. During this time, English governors would no longer buy pirate booty, even if it was stolen from Spain or France, because of the outcome of the war. England became kind of allied with Spain and kind of France, and they just like stopped buying it altogether because they were like, I don't know who you got this from. And so this kind of pissed them off, but this caused many pirates to move their base of operations to New Providence in the Bahamas, aka the Republic of Pirates. That's the other thing I'll talk about that I thought was pretty interesting, and it's also kind of an Uncharted thing. It's not super Uncharted because Libertalia or whatever in the game is it's like in Africa or in Madagascar or whatever, but this is in the Bahamas. So they moved up there. This time also marked the peak of the transatlantic slave trade. I feel like I'm like smacking my lips or something. Fuck it, we'll figure that out, dude. Like I said, these episodes are gonna be ass anyway. I'm just getting some practice under my belt. But so this time was a peak of the transatlantic slave trade, and ships carrying payments for slaves were a prime target for pirates. Because I mean, it's gold or silk or ivory. It's like small, super valuable things. So it was like we can just hop on there, grab like a chest full of whatever, like destroy the ship and dip. Which, by the way, that's gonna be the name of this episode. Maybe stealing shit and stealing ships. Shout out Reed. Reed knows already, but I think that's gonna be the title. It's the best one I've got. Um, So yeah, they were robbing the fuck out of these guys. So pirates, kind of the good guys in history, if you really. They didn't know it. They were just robbing dudes, but they probably helped some slaves not be slaves anymore, which is maybe nice. Um, but in 1713, England obtained a contract to acquire and sell slaves to the Spanish. This gave the pirates a new target and a new place to sell stolen goods, which was the Spanish colonies. Um, Before they didn't really, I mean, they did fuck with that area, but it just like exploded with like money and stuff, and like these towns became more populated. So that was good for pirates. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say. I thought I'd have more to say about that, but I don't. Like I said, learn. Merchant shippers began to cut costs by paying sailors less and making them live in worse conditions, causing many soldiers to pursue piracy. Merchant sailors had a higher mortality rate than the slaves they shipped. So that if you guys have seen like the new Roots or whatever, you fucking know how bad those slaves were living on that boat, and yet the sailors died at a higher rate, which is crazy. But I guess that's kind of what you get for that's just karma, capturing people and selling them. So maybe that's how you want to look at that one, but or you look at it as these guys were living in deplorable conditions. Everything was wet all the time. Like you hear about trench foot and stuff. Imagine it being fucking that, but on a boat. Like there's not even like a hope of escape. It's like we have to be here. Like sailing across the ocean takes 3 months. It's not like you can like hope that the war ends or whatever and you can get out of the trench. No, you're just stuck there. But piracy was preferable to the what the fuck is that? The Navy, due to its freedom and its semi-democratic existence. So, I mean, yeah, its freedom, quote unquote, really wasn't too free. No one was free back then. Everyone's life sucked, dude. They were not living the good life back in the 1720s or whatever. But the golden age of piracy ended due to privateering becoming illegal and navies becoming more powerful. So it just became like now, if you like rolled up on a fucking bass boat with an AK-47 and tried to like rob an aircraft carrier, that's basically what happened or why it ended. I mean, there's still piracy, dude. Pirates fucking rule. It's the coolest shit ever. Obviously, people are gonna keep doing it, but the golden age had ended. Um, so that's tough. But so that's a rundown of the golden age overall what happened. But now we're gonna talk about, you guys remember earlier, the Republic of Pirates. So it was located on the Bahamian island of New Providence. Oh, and it lasted from 1706 to 1718. So I mean, 12 good years, more than like some countries or like attempted countries. You know what I mean? But Henry Avery, who we'll talk about later, fucking Uncharted 4, established Nassau as a pirate base in 1696. So it was controlled by the English, but like it was like the Wild West out there, so they could just roll up and kind of do whatever they wanted there. But they're not whatever they wanted at that point. Later they'd be able to, but Henry Avery established it. Dude, Uncharted 4 is so cool, dude. If you guys have never played that game, go buy a PS4. People are selling their PS4s for cheap, trying to get that new $800 PS5, which is fucking insane, dude. That's just crazy. But yeah, Uncharted 4 is, I mean, it's probably one of the best games I've ever played. Top 5 for sure. They made a banger with that one. They knew what the fuck they were doing. But anyway, France and Spain attacked the island twice. And so that's France and Spain together attacked the island twice, causing the English government to flee. Fuck, dude. All right. Blackbeard, who we'll talk about later, was elected the magistrate of the republic and enforced the law. I don't really know what a magistrate is. I might Google that one real quick. Um, but using a variety of systems. Why do you need to know my location? A judicial officer who hears cases in a lower court. Okay, so he was probably just like killing dudes who fucking pissed him off. Let's be real here. But yeah, he was the magistrate. And there was like a pirate code. You hear people talk about that. I don't know. I think it's bullshit. No fucking way. The only reason they adhered to the code was so they didn't get killed. But I guess that's why some people follow the law, so they don't go to jail. But um, King George I offered a pardon to all pirates, which essentially ended the republic. And if he could just get away scot free and like return to a life of merchant shipping or whatever, or just like get land somewhere and not go to jail, a lot of dudes chose that, which is why the republic ended. But I mean, yeah, that's the end of that one. And now I'm going to talk about some of the GOAT pirates. I chose one from each of the periods. So we have the pirate round, the buccaneering period, and the Spanish succession. I'll start with the buccaneering period, even though I wrote it second. Damn, should have wrote it first. But anyway, so we'll start in chronological order. So we have. Alright, headset died. Same as always. Damn. Alright. Is this fucking. If this is too loud, I'll try to. Damn. What the fuck? Did I move that away? Okay. Whatever. Sorry if that part was like loud as shit for some reason. I'll
I'll try to fix that later. But anyway, so we'll start with Henry Morgan. I don't think I started it, but he lived from 1635 to 1688. Buccaneer. He was born in Wales, died in Jamaica. So he I guess buccaneers could be anyone, but because he was English or Welsh. So if anyone's listening to this from Wales, first of all, what the fuck are you doing here? Second of all, my bad. But yeah, he was an English privateer that had a good relationship with the governor of Jamaica. He plundered many Spanish colonial cities in Venezuela, Panama, and Cuba. He helped lead the raid on Panama City in 1671, and this was after the peace had been settled. So the English summoned him to court, but they were basically like, fucking dead. We don't give a shit. Yeah, so I don't know what peace agreement it was, but Spain and England are no longer beefing, so Henry Morgan didn't get in any trouble, but eventually he was a privateer, not a pirate, but it was the same thing. He plundered cities, got a few ships. He was more. It seems like he was more so a city guy than a ship type of guy. But either way, he was getting active. You know what I mean? So he eventually became the lieutenant governor of Jamaica in 1674. So shortly after Spain and England had settled their beef, where he owned a plantation, and he became governor a couple times from when the governor left or whatever. I guess that's kind of was his only responsibility, but so he did that, and he was an inspiration for many pirate novels of the time, and probably a few modern ones. But yeah, he didn't live the most interesting life, and there wasn't a ton about buccaneering pirates. And this is just I'm focusing mostly on like the Caribbean pirates and stuff. Why is this so much louder? This is piss me off. But either way, Henry Morgan, the OG, he laid it down, plundered a few cities, got his bag. But now I'm going to talk about Henry Avery. I was going to choose this guy regardless, but it turns out he was a fucking like the goat of pirates. Like I was saying, dude, he might be the all-time goat. Although he played in an era where it was kind of easier, I still think he's the goat. So Henry Avery, pirate round. He was born in England, disappeared in the Indian Ocean, I think. Doesn't really matter, to be honest, but he lived from 1659 to 1696, where he disappeared. They don't really know when he died. They think around 1712, but they don't really know. But he operated in the Indian Ocean and the Caribbean, so he was getting around. His alias was Benjamin Bridgman, and his crew called him Long Ben, which pause, but I mean, yeah, no pause. It's just weird, but I don't know why they called him that. It said it, but I didn't write it down because I wanted to make my dumb gay joke. I wanted to make the most unfunny stupid joke ever. But yeah, so that was his alias, but his nicknames that like people in general called him was the Arch Pirate or the King of Pirates. So I'm not the only fucking Henry Avery dick eater out there. All right, people think he was the best. He captained a ship called the Fancy that he led a mutiny on. Which Fancy, dude? His nickname is Long Ben, and he captains the Fancy. I said he was married to a woman, but I doubt that, dude. Sounds like should have been called the Zesty, but sounds like Henry Avery. He might have been. He might. He, dumb joke. Um, but his most famous looting or like plundering was he attacked a Muggle ship, which I don't really remember what the Muggles are. I know what the Barbers, but the Muggle Empire. Oh, it's in India. Oh, who'd have thought? Because they're Muslim. You'd imagine they, if they're from India, they'd be Hindu, but I don't fucking know shit about India. I know they, no. Um, um, but the ship was heading to Mecca, like I said, in 1696, and he stole 115 million pounds. That's English pounds, the money, not pounds, of goods, mostly like jewels and stuff. But when pirates like robbed ships heading from India, they were mostly getting like silk, ivory, golden jewels, like I said, because that's what they had over there. And this ship was, it's pretty notorious, I guess, if you know about pirates. It's called the Ganj-e-Sawal, and they got it. I'm gonna see and that's 115 pounds in today's money. Back then, it was 16 or not 16, 600,000. Um, but yeah, he got it. Dude, I'm so bad at typing numbers. It's a lot of fucking money. Okay, it's about like $150 million, and that's like a criminal, dude. What other criminal organizations besides the government? No, I'm not Alex Jones, but um, yeah. So he basically got 150 million fucking dollars from a few ships, which is also like, can you even feel bad for like the people he was robbing? Why are you bringing 150 million dollars with you to Mecca? That's like a religious fucking right. That's like if I. That's like those mega pastors or those mega church pastors that have like private jets and like 8 cars and shit. It's like, is that why you're going to Mecca or are you going to Mecca to party? And I'm pretty sure all the boats to Mecca, I like these guys weren't obviously they weren't following their religion, but anyway, he robbed them, and the East India Company, the British East India Company, began a worldwide manhunt for him as a show of good faith to the Muggles. Mughals? I think it's Mughal. Mughal, some shit like that. But he evaded capture, and his treasure was never found. So yeah, Henry Avery basically, he was really like a goat pirate overall, but like I said, I'm tired as hell. But he got his bag and he did, and they don't really know when he died. That's part of Uncharted 4, which I mean, there's only 2 other people listening to this, so if you are listening to this and you haven't played Uncharted 4, hit me up, dude. Gotta let you play that game. This is a special episode. No, it's not. I almost gave a shout out to a dude that loves treasure, but people listen know who. That's one for the real fans. But anyway, and now finally we're going to talk about Edward Teach or Thatch. I guess he had 2 last names. I don't know. But he lived from 1680 to 1718. He was born in England and he died in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. He was out there with Sarah Cameron and John B. Which, by the way, dude, to the dudes listening to this, I watched that show. I forgot how absolutely ass everything about that show's not good at all. I watched like the first episode and I was like, how fucking horny was I that I watched 3 seasons of this? It's so bad. It's the worst. The acting, the everything. It sucks. It's horrible. It's not good at all. And I watched like 3 episodes. It's literally just a show to watch to like stare at like a hot like chick. And that's the whole show. It's fucking insane. I realized and I feel like I say that about some other things. That's truly all this show is. I couldn't tell you any plot points. It's ass. It's horrible. And they're making another season of it, which is crazy. But yeah. So Edward Teach, his nickname was Blackbeard. What? Yeah. I feel like a lot of people already know that, but um, I might have even fuck. I might have said it before. I tried to keep it a secret, but anyway, he's Blackbeard. He captained the Queen Anne's Revenge, which was a stolen French slave ship. Um, and he was active from 1716 to 1718. A lot of these guys did that, where they mutiny on a ship, take the ship, or like they just straight up steal it, and then they only do like 10, 12 years of like pirating, um, and then they fucking retire. But I mean, Blackbeard was in it for the love of the game. This dude, I can tell just by reading this. Like these other guys are like, I don't. They were in it for the money, not Blackbeard. Dude. Blackbeard's the fucking man. But anyway, he had the Queen Anne's Revenge. Um, he braided his beard with flammable material and lit it to strike fear into his enemies. Like I said, this dude had a love of the game that I don't think the other two had, which is kind of what makes him the most notorious pirate of all time. And it's also a sick ass name, Blackbeard. I think there was like a guy named like Black Bob or something, but I don't know. That's just like whatever. Blackbeard, that's scary. But and yeah, like Calico Jack, that's not fucking intimidating. Even like the arch pirate, like that sounds like some fancy dude. Blackbeard sounds like a guy that you want to run from, dude. But anyway, he didn't really like to use violence. When I read that, I like thought he probably didn't hate, like not for like moral reasons, but probably because he didn't want to like lose any men or like get hurt himself. It was probably like just like super um just costly to his endeavors to use violence, which is why I don't think he liked it. But maybe he was just like a good guy. Um, but anyway, he didn't like it. He instead used fear and calculated plans to spread. How dumb am I? I spelled spread SPRED. Fuck, am I dumb? To spread his reputation. So he had these really well planned attacks and shit. Um, and he was also just scary as hell. I think he might have used the Jolly Rogers, which, by the way, dude, I might post this as one of the Instagram pictures, but the surviving Jolly Roger flags are so funny, dude. Yeah, there's only 3, and they're the goofiest shit ever. I mean, I guess back then, ooh, one of them's a Barbary pirate. By the way, I didn't talk about the Barbary pirates or anything like that, or like the Indo-Chinese pirates, just because, I don't know. I feel like the golden age of piracy is like these type of guys, like privateers and stuff. And also a lot of the Barbary pirates and stuff like that, and the Indo-Chinese pirates, they were privateers and stuff. Like I was reading about this one, or like they were basically like an extension of the Navy, or like mercenaries or something. Which some of the early pirates were, but they were also just straight up criminals. But yeah, that's kind of why I didn't talk about them because they're not just like pure criminals. They were too powerful, whereas these guys were like they were powerful, but not that much. But anyway, I was reading about these like Turkish pirates that like sailed all the way to Iceland and like raided it multiple times, and they had like, a force of like 20,000. And I'm like, is that pirates really? I mean, I guess technically, but that's like calling Vikings. I guess Vikings were kind of more piratey, but they were just too powerful. Like that's why I don't consider, or like the sea people, those are considered the original pirates, but I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a pirate to me. That seems like just like a seafaring people that like get their money off like plundering cities and stuff, which I guess is technically what makes it. I don't know. I don't know shit about this, and I'm not gonna pretend to. But I go based off of vibes. This was more of a pirate vibe. You know what I mean? Like these guys could have gotten in trouble, and they did. But anyway, um, this is the one ransom I said I was going to talk about, and it's really the only big one. So he once ransomed the town of Charlestown, South Carolina. He got a few other pirates together and like made this blockade, and yeah, ransomed this. Sorry, I'm trying not to cough into the mic, but he ransomed the whole town, and he was pardoned for it. It didn't say whether the ransom was successful. Maybe I'll look that up real quick to make this episode slightly longer. But um, he didn't get in any trouble for it, which is he got pardoned, which is maybe like them being like, uh, uh them being like, fuck, he's too powerful for us to arrest him, so let's just say we pardon him. But um, he got medicine for it. What? It's crazy. A valuable chest of medicine. Dude, and this is 1718 medicine. Can you imagine what they get? They give him like a bunch of roots and like vials full of like opium and shit. Damn, dude. They gave him like diarrhea pills. He ransomed the town and all they got was diarrhea pills. Which, by the way, that's what they use. Like Lewis and Clark could just use like diarrhea pills. But I guess Lewis and Clark's like 100 years after this. But still, if that's 100 years after this and the best medicine they had was diarrhea pills, you can imagine what valuable medicine they gave him. Um, but anyway, so I guess it was technically successful and he was pardoned. But he very quickly, like I said, dude, love of the game, returned to pirating. Dude, I wrote piration. He returned to piration. What was I on? I wasn't even like tired yesterday. I guess I was pretty tired. I took a nap right after I took all these notes. So, but he was active around like Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. So, and he was killed in action in 1718 by some British dudes. They pulled up on him, and apparently it was like a Rasputin death. If you know how Rasputin died, they were like shot him like 80 times or whatever. And the way they describe it, they shot Blackbeard like, or they stabbed him like 10 times and shot him like 50 or whatever the fuck. I'm tired still. But anyway, that's the end. That's all the notes I have. Next week might be another ocean-based episode. I don't know. It probably will be. Just because, I don't know. I'm not finding a lot of good ideas. I'm in this anthropology class, and I was like, maybe I'll like get some ideas from there. No, dude, do not take a college anthropology class. I mean, obviously all college professors are liberal, dude, but like this lady, and she's like a fine teacher. She's like a fine person, dude. But it's like we're in anthropology, and we're just talking about how like I don't know about how like everyone's right about like moral relativism and shit, which is just like I don't know. I'm not gonna. Might be a stupid idea to talk shit about the school I'm at, but I don't think anyone will hear this. But yeah, and I'm not even talking shit. Like obviously, like I feel like going into a college anthropology class and expecting it not to be liberal is walking into Walmart and expecting there to be no fat people. Like you're dumb if you sign up for any college class that's like related to the humanities. Like if you sign up for like yeah, it's just how dumb would I be to be like all these college professors are liberal. What the fuck is going? No, obviously, but I didn't expect it to be this. Eh, whatever, it's fine. It's a fine class. I'm learning stuff. But holy shit, in that class, there's these two people that sit behind me, and one of them always got some shit to say. It makes me it makes me visibly upset. Like I'll like just take my notebook and like press it into my face when this fucking bitch starts up. Not bitch. Yeah, bitch. No, fuck. Like, and I can tell this teacher is like super patient. Like I said, she's like a fine person. Or I don't know her. I've talked to her like once, but she's trying to like be patient and reasonable. And but like I feel like one day she's just gonna lose it on these two fucking people that sit behind me. Because like every day, everything she says, they have like some like counter argument to it. Which that's the downfall of the libs, is that there's always someone that's more lib. And I guess maybe you could say that about the right too. Like there's always someone that's more conservative or whatever. Like, oh, you don't think immigrants should enter the country, or like you think we should stop illegal immigration? Which that's not even a right. I can't think of a right wing opinion right now. That shit's hard. But then some dude's like a fucking Nazi. You know what I mean? So the libs are arguing in my anthropology class. That's all I have to say about that. Is that there's these two mildly annoying people that sit behind me in my anthropology class that I'm really learning nothing. I thought it was gonna be about specifics and shit, dude. I thought it was gonna be sick as fuck. It's just not. It's pretty lame. But gotta take the class. Gotta get that A. Gotta get that writing enriched credit, which is retarded. But um, yeah, that's all I have for this week. Next week, like I said, it might be ocean based. It might not be. It probably will be though, because that's the only idea I have right now for something that I feel like I can do decently. But yeah, that's all I have for this week. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. No, see you guys next week. We did it, boys. We made it a month. We did it, Joe. Damn, I'm breathing like fucking Shannon Sharp right now, which that just happened, by the way. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Peace.